Hey guys, welcome back to another video and welcome back to my channel. And today we're gonna be looking at, I think I've titled this 5 worst palettes in my collection, but it's gonna be the palettes that if I were to declutter my collections, these would be the first 5 palettes that I would definitely think about and that I would consider decluttering. And who knows, maybe I will actually declutter them at the end of the year. I'm not still sure. For me, like the second half of the year is usually where I kind of really go through my collection and try to find all the dots. I've been slowly doing that with my Project 20 uses as well. Like, if you have to use something for 20 times, usually you get a pretty good idea whether it is something you want to keep in your collection. And there are a couple of palettes that were rolled into my Project 20 uses that I immediately decluttered afterwards because I just found out that it would take me a whole year to use them 20 times. And that kind of means that I don't actually like them that much, or that I don't need them that much. So these are gonna be the first 5 palettes that would get decluttered if I were to actually declutter. And again, I don't know if I'm gonna declutter anything at the end of the year. And also for me, usually when I find out something doesn't work for me, I just declutter it immediately. I don't wait for the end of the year to like let you guys know about that. But maybe I'm gonna do a declutter at the end of the year. Let me know if you would watch that. But before we're gonna jump into this video, in case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows especially. That's what this video is gonna be about. And I'm currently trying to hit 1K, so if you're new here and you would like to stick around, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe. And if you like this concept and like this video idea, please like this video and write a comment down below. And now for these 5 palettes. So first up, I don't like mini palettes. I don't like travel palettes or these like small, quads and 5 pans, 6 pans, because I don't have a use for them. I never travel with these palettes because if I'm traveling somewhere, I don't do like 1-day trips. I don't. And if I were to, I would just not do my makeup. And if I travel somewhere for longer than that, I just take my favorite palette. Like, obviously, I wouldn't take a, I don't know, 30 pan palette for 3-day trip, but I can just take a normal palette, like, I don't know, a 9 pan or a 12 pan, and just, pick a color story that I like, that I feel like I'm gonna wear for a couple days. But realistically, if I go somewhere for a week or longer, I'm gonna probably take like 2 palettes or maybe more. That kind of really depends because I'm very indecisive and I just want to always be able to do whatever I want. I don't want to be tied to a certain color or color story. Like, if I wake up and I want to do blue, I want to be able to do blue. If I'm gonna wake up next day and want to do orange, I want to do orange. Like, I always want to be able to do whatever the hell I want with my makeup. Obviously, I can't take my entire collection, but I just always want to have the option. So for me, mini palettes are just not something that I enjoy, and I've stopped buying them. I have a couple in my collection, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep all of them because they just don't really serve any purpose. I have one, I have one that I'm currently in a process of panning, and then I'm just gonna like throw away the packaging because it just doesn't make sense for me to keep. So first palette that I'm gonna mention is the Shall We Makeup Wolfa palette. I'm not gonna show you the inside, I'm gonna pop a picture because this one is magnetic and I currently have different shades there because I have to organize my singles collection. I kind of moved a lot of things around, and I think the organization video is already up on my channel, so I will link it in the little card in case you want to see all my singles and how I organize them, because it's a mess right now. It's like genuinely crazy. I don't know how I let that happen and get this far, but yeah. Anyways, Wolfa, it's a 5 pan. It's pretty neutral palette, which it's more like a warm neutral. I don't really like neutrals. There's one kind of like a mustardy shade that I enjoy, and then there's beautiful multi-chrome, like gold, blue, green type of shimmer that I really like. But otherwise, I genuinely don't need this palette. It doesn't have the best colors. So like, I do love the way it looks, but realistically I only use 1 or 2 shades from this 5 pan, and the only reason why I'm keeping this is because it's magnetic. So if I ever want to dupe a small palette, I can always do that. But I don't really enjoy the color story, and I think if I'm gonna keep this, I'm probably gonna take the single shadows out of this packaging, use them as singles for my duping videos or for my BYOPs, and keep this packaging, the magnetic packaging, as a storage, storage for storage purposes. I don't think I'm gonna keep it the way it is as a palette, because for me it just doesn't really make much sense, and it's a color set that I don't enjoy. But I don't really have these shades anywhere else in my collection, and if I would ever need them for a dupe video or for BYOP, I still want to keep them. But I think I'm gonna just take all of the eyeshadows out and see if I genuinely don't have these as a single. If I do have some of these shades as singles, then I might declutter them, because I just don't want to have repeats, especially of shades that I don't really wear on a regular basis. There are a couple shades in my collection that I have as singles that I technically have like more of, but it's shades that I do love to wear, so there is a good chance that I'm gonna go through them and I might need a dupe or like a replacement. But this as a palette is probably gonna go because I just don't need this color story. Another one is the Sinful Echoes Cosmic Grip palette. This is my only Sinful Echoes palette, and this was the only one that was available, and I really wanted to try these palettes from them. I wanted to have the blue one, the kind of like blue-gray, if I remember that correctly, but it wasn't available. They only had this. I really wanted to try the formula. I do quite like the 2 shimmers here, the like pink one and the peach one. The mattes aren't the best, and it's also not color set that I wear. I don't wear reds. I can obviously use the black, but I have matte black from Colourpop, as like a single from them that is a lot better than this. And then this orange, it's very like pumpkiny, and I don't really use them a lot, and it's not a good formula if I'm being honest. So I think when I first tried it, I wasn't that critical, but the more I tried, the less I like it. So this one, again, I might just look at my collection, see if I have these shades as singles. If I do, I might just depot this, give these shades to somebody else, and keep the pad, because again, it's a magnetic pad, and this one is a 6 pan, which again could be useful, maybe. I don't know, I still have to think about it, because I don't think I have a 6 pan storage. Though I have a couple small magnetic palettes from Wooden's Eye that are like, I think 8 pans, but I could... You know what? Yeah, I think this one might actually get decluttered this year, because I have these shades. Even though these 2 shimmers are very pretty, like, I have them in my collection. Maybe not completely this, but definitely something similar. And I might just have to... I think I've used this pad like 2 times in total, maybe 3. I might just try to find someone who would like this and give it to them. Or if any of you want this palette, let me know through Instagram and we might like figure something out. But it's a shame, because A, it was really expensive to ship here, and B, I would love to have a palette from Sinful Echoes, but this just really isn't my color story. Then another palette I've wanted to love. There was a part of me that liked it at the beginning, but I just kind of grew like distant from this palette. I don't know, I just don't really enjoy it anymore. But I will definitely keep the packaging of it because again it's magnetic. But I probably will depot it, see if I have these shades somewhere else, and if I don't, I'm gonna keep these shades. If I do, I'm gonna declutter them from my collection. But it's the Hallobean palette from Shroud in collaboration with Betty Bean. As I said, I always will want to keep this palette, like the magnetic compartment, because A, it's a night pen, and I really love the theming. I know Shroud doesn't technically like exist anymore, kinda, or they're on some kind of hiatus, I'm not sure. But I do really like the way this looks. I love everything spooky and Halloweeny. But I just really do not like these shades. The shimmers are very lackluster, and the mattes, I don't find this color story to be my type of color story. I do like these two matte greens. They're nice, but I have so many greens in my collection. I have so many greens, so I don't really need them. I do quite like this white iridescent shade, which has like a green and gold sparkle. That one is actually really pretty, but the rest is very uninspiring for me, and I never really know what to do with this color story. So I'm gonna depot this, see if I have these shades somewhere, and if I do, I'm just gonna declutter them because there's just no point in keeping this. Then another palette, so that's number 4 now, is the Mio Makeup The Frog's Tales palette. I kind of bought it only for the packaging. I mean, the color story inside is nice, but I have that. But this palette, I kind of kept it for the packaging because it's like a book. It's kind of like a fairy tale book. I love that. I find that to be really cute. But realistically, the color story inside, there's a lot of neutrals. Like you pretty much have the top 9 pen is a neutral palette. There were 2 glitters here that I immediately depotted because I hate glitters in palettes. And instead I repressed different shades I'm trying to use up, and I thought that if I'm gonna put the shades I'm trying to use up in this palette, I'm gonna also use this palette more. It got rolled in twice in my Pando's eyeshadows, sorry, so I have 2 pens here from the Pando's eyeshadows. But realistically, like, yes, these blues are really pretty, like this one is such a beautiful matte shade, and the whole formula isn't bad. Like the mattes are quite okay. I think they're like a pretty good formula. They're kind of like Colourpop, which is a good matte formula. It's not like Blend Bunny's quality, but it's a really easy to work with formula. And the shimmers are quite okay. Like they're sparkly. They're not like duochromes or anything, but they're sparkly. They're cute. I'm just not inspired by this color story. It's just kind of boring. I have this million times over, and because I have it so many times in my collection, it would be a contender for declutter. I don't know like who I would give it to because obviously it's very used, and I don't want to just like throw it away. That's the thing, because like that feels wasteful to just like throw it away. But this would be something that I definitely don't need in my collection. I don't know, maybe I'm gonna find someone in my friend group that would want this, but I don't really have anyone that I know who likes to wear eyeshadows. I might try to ask someone like through Instagram, you know, some of the people that I interact with. Maybe somebody would want this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out, but I don't really need to keep this one. I have it a million times. And then the last palette, and this might be a shock to some of you, but for me, it's absolutely beautiful palette. I love the color story. I love the packaging. I quite like the formula. There are a couple of shades that I don't think needed to be here for either repetition or just the fact that I don't really love the formula that much. But I still really like this palette. It's just, it doesn't really work for me all that well. It's too dark for me, and it lacks a lot of shades for me, so I always have to use it with other palettes, and for me this is like a little bit, it's too big of a palette to need a companion palette, if that makes sense. So that's The Beauty Below by Blend Bunny. I love everything mermaid and siren. Like, I love this theming so much. And maybe I'm gonna change my mind by the end of the year, because I've been reviewing it in the spring when it launched. And for me, like, this is completely like opposite color story of what I enjoy in the spring and summer. So maybe that's the reason why I don't enjoy it that much. But the dark shimmers are very thick and they stain your eyes. There's so many repetitive shades with the purples and pinks. I even have two shades that don't belong in this palette because I needed to like improve this color story a little bit. So these two shades are from the Lens palette by Blend Bunny. And it's still not perfect. Like, it's still quite dark and it just feels, I don't know what it is about this color story, because on one hand I really do like to look at it, but on the other I just don't, I'm not inspired to do any look with this. Like, any. Or the shades that I would be inspired to use. Like, for example, this row, the column. The second column from this side. Those are really pretty, but like, realistically, I don't think the look would work. Or I would look like some kind of flag. And it's just, unless I'm gonna do, I can only imagine doing monochromatic looks with this. I don't really know if I could mix different colors or tones and make a look out of that, because I feel like every single time I would try that, it just wouldn't work. And I'm like, if you've seen me wearing makeup in any point, you know that I really don't care what I'm gonna mix together. Like, if I feel like it, I'm gonna mix like mustard with the blue. Like, I'm gonna do that. It's not a problem. But there's something about this color story that I just really don't know what else to do than monochromatic looks, and I don't want to do monochromatic looks. I know that's ironic considering I have all yellow look today. I really don't know. And part of me wants to keep this also because it's a magnetic palette, and I don't really have magnetic palettes with square bands. And these are really good. Like, most of these are really nice formula. There was, I think, one of the purple mattes wasn't the best, and then a lot of the dark shimmers are pretty much the same. Like, you have so many berries, and this shade and this shade, they are very stainy, and honestly they're just really dark and they don't really look like anything on the eyes. So, and I don't really like dark shimmers because you can only use them in a specific way. Like, they're always gonna look how they look like in the pan. There's no changing them. Whereas if you have, for example, iridescent eyeshadows or eyeshadows that don't have much of base, if you put them on dark base, they're gonna look like this. And if you're gonna put them on a lighter base, they're gonna look shiny, iridescent light. So they stretch over a lot of different things and they always look different based on the base that you're gonna use. But no matter what I do underneath, this will always look like this. Which for me is just really boring because, like, then I only have one use for this, or like one specific look that I'm gonna get out of it. Whereas if this was iridescent light shade, I could get it to look like this or like this or like this based on the base that I'm gonna use. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't need that many shades. I'm probably rambling. I just don't know what to do with this palette, but it's so pretty and I want to keep it. But I think this is the same story as with the Lunar Beauty, the Moonshroom palette. For the longest time I was like, no, I need to keep it. I love the way it looks. I'm gonna learn to use it because I hated the shimmers there. I thought the mattes were nice, but realistically there were so many neutral mattes and there were only a couple colors, and I'm not gonna keep like an 18 pan or however many shades there were for a couple colorful mattes that I already have in other palettes that I own. So eventually I did declutter it, even though for the longest time I was like, no, I can't, it's too pretty, I need to have it. And then I decluttered it because there was no use for that palette, and I just, it would just sit here. And I kind of worry that this is gonna be the same, which makes me very angry because it's so beautiful. But I'm really not feeling it. We'll see. Like, I still have, well, like 5 months before the end of the year, so okay. So I think these are all the pads that are kind of like on my chopping block, where I really don't know if they're gonna stay with me for the next year. As I said, I have the next, like, what, 5 months to play with them, to figure out if I actually want to keep them, or if I want to either find someone who wants them more or who would like get to use them. Yeah, I just have to figure that out. But if you're looking at this video and you're like, I would be, and you're thinking to yourself that you would really, really love to have these palettes, just let me know. Write me a DM on Instagram. And, you know, since I don't know if I want them, and I probably would not notice if they went missing from my collection, I might as well just give them to someone who would appreciate them. So let me know down below what you thought about this video, if you think I should declutter them, and if you would even want me to film a declutter video. I am currently about to film my makeup collection and declutter, so everything that's not eyeshadow, and I think that video should already be up on my channel. And I think there are gonna be a couple things that I will declutter from my, like, face products, so check that out in case you're interested. It's probably gonna be a little bit of a longer video. And let me know down below if you want me to do something similar with my eyeshadows and eyeshadow palettes at the end of the year. But that's everything for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with the next one. So bye, and have a great day.